Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling mom to two boys, a first grader and a pre-Ker. And in today's video, I am going to be doing my September recap because it was a very busy month. So let's get going. So my name is Rachel. I'm a speech language pathologist turned homeschool mom, and September 2023 was a little too busy for me, honestly. I kind of knew it was gonna be busy just looking at my calendar, but then when it came down to it, it was like nonstop. The extras that were added to the month of September were swim lessons. So we got swim lessons 4 days a week for half-hour lessons during the middle of the day. So it was one-on-one lessons with both my boys, and it was at a fellow homeschooler's home. It was a whole ordeal, you know, starting school, then stopping school, getting them all ready to go, driving there, having the actual swim lesson, getting them all, you know, dried off, and then back in the car, and then back home. And then by that time it was lunchtime and back to room time for some quiet time because we all needed it at that point. So it kind of, the swim lessons completely cut our day kind of in half of how much schooling I would have liked to do on those first 2 weeks of September. But those swim lessons, they progressed so much in their swimming abilities. They started off, let me just say, by not wanting to put their heads underwater, and by the end of it, they were diving underwater, and they were blowing their mouth bubbles and their nose bubbles, and they were floating. They did so well. If you are ever able to do one-on-one swim lessons, I highly recommend it, because the swim lessons we've had in the past were the once a week with a group of, you know, 4 or 5 kids, and it just, the progress that I saw them with the 4 days back to back for 2 weeks, they progressed so well. I'm so proud of them. And we had those swim lessons for a very specific reason I will get to in a minute. Now, the other thing that made our September very, very busy, and again, I knew this, in my schedule, I knew this was gonna happen. September was just gonna be very busy. We had also dentist appointments, and we had my first graders Cub Scouts that started. And then we also had our co-op that started. Now my boys take co-op classes 2 times a week. My first grader takes a fitness class, which is great for him. He gets to learn different sports that I would not be able to teach. And he gets to run around with other kids and play games. It's fantastic. And at the same time, my pre-Ker is taking a language adventures class where he gets to learn all about language exploration for like English phonics, vocabulary building, letter recognition, all that good pre-K language adventures things. And also they get to do messy play, which my little guy completely loves. And so those classes are an hour each, and I get to drop them off, and I get to sit and get things done for an hour. It's fantastic. Now, the second co-op class they take at the same building is a class where they have chapel, and then each of them get to be in 2 separate classes. And these are fun classes. So my first grader after chapel takes a pilgrims class, and then a Lego creations class. And then my pre-Ker takes a wiggly PE class after chapel, and then he does a Jesus class. So just fun classes. And in the pilgrims class, this is one of the things that my little guy has been learning about, is the Mayflower, and just a little book all about the Mayflower. And you guys, I'm not even done with what also made September so crazy. So those swim lessons I told you about, we had them take those intensive swim lessons because we went on vacation. And so my husband was able to take 2 weeks off of vacation, which has been such a nice time off for him. He needed that time off. So we took the last week of September off and then the first week of October off. And for one of those weeks, we were away and we were on a beach vacation, and it was fantastic. And I got sunshine, and the boys got to play in the ocean and the pool, and we got to go on a train ride and feed animals, and we got to go on a bike riding adventure along the beach, and just, it was so nice and warm. It was so nice and sunny, and it was just a gorgeous, gorgeous vacation. Boy, did my boys have the time of their lives. They got back, and after that week of vacation, and they slept so much for like 3 days because we tuckered them out, it is safe to say. So with all those updates on our extracurriculars of September and why September was so busy, let's get down to the actual learning we did. We did 3 weeks of school in September. Okay, guys? So let us start with my first grader. So let's start with math, because that's typically what we start with. We either start our day with math or language arts, just depending. So with math, we are working through our Singapore Dimensions 1B curriculum, and we are currently on chapter 13, which is addition and subtraction within 20, and we are working our way through this chapter, and we just completed chapter 12, which was numbers to 40. And I personally am loving this curriculum. To me, the way this curriculum is taught, it is very logical, it makes sense, it's very repetitive, it has them doing a lot of things with the number counting rods and manipulatives, but it's just taught in a way that is so logical, taking simple skills and then it expands on those concepts very elaborately, and it really does have the child take a simple concept and make it grow bigger and bigger and bigger, and it builds upon those skills so beautifully. I'm loving this curriculum. Sometimes my first grader, like any first grader, but especially a child who is very sensitive like my child, sometimes gets a little bit overstimulated with this curriculum. As with our old math curriculum too, he got overstimulated, so I just have to pare it back sometimes and, you know, go with the child, let the child lead. And if something is too difficult, then we switch to his yellow math book. So we have the purple is the 1B, and then 1A is the yellow book. So if I sense that because he can do these concepts, but if I sense that he's just like, we need to pull back, then we go switch to the yellow workbook, and that is working for us beautifully. And we do math in our house anywhere from 4 to 5 days a week. It just depends on how our schedule is going. Like I said, September was crazy, and we only did math 4 times a week during this month, and that will change in October, I'm sure, back up to 4 to 5 times a week. And the next subject in our typical flow for my first grader is language arts. We are using language arts from the Good and the Beautiful, level 1, and we have just completed lesson 28 in this book. So here is some examples of what we did in lesson 28. And overall, I think he is understanding all the concepts very, very smoothly. The one thing that I noticed is on lesson 27, I tabbed it because we're gonna have to review this again. It was these 2-syllable words. He got a little overwhelmed with having to break up the syllables. But yeah, I'm gonna review that with him because I know that he can complete this. I think he might have just been done for the day, overstimulated, something. So I don't think I even had him complete this. I think we just skipped it and did some more read alouds that day. Again, I follow my child. If something is like, he's not about it, we'll go back to it another day and I'll just add a read aloud, or I'll add something else that I know he can complete. so that way he feels accomplished, and that way he feels like he has done the work that I have set forth for him to do, because my little guy likes to complete tasks. My little guy loves to check these boxes of completed. So that's just one thing about my little guy that I know. And if he did struggle on a task and I did have to pare it back, then I just add something else that I know he can successfully complete. But overall, I am seeing such great improvement. His reading abilities in those readers that comes with this program, I mean, he is reading so well. And the booster cards, I mean, he's improving so much in those booster cards. This is definitely a winner for us. So now let's jump into what my pre-care has been doing for his language arts and his math. And you guys, we are using Gather Round's letters and numbers. And we only did lessons 13 through 17. So we did Garter Snake, Susie Stripes, the Chipmunk, Chase the Speedy Climber, and then we started in on the American Robin. And we are doing the worksheets associated with these activities, and there's a lot of tracing, cutting, coloring, learning about, I think we're up to the letter D. And my pre-K, he's learning his phonics from this, he's learning his numbers, we're doing some counting activities, we're enjoying this. I have honestly not gotten to do his Singapore PKA math curriculum with him, and I'm so bummed about that. In October, that's one of my goals. I'm gonna be bringing back his, I mean, we were just so busy this month. Even getting to this curriculum, that was like, we were so busy in September. And I mean, I can't feel too bad because he had so much like enrichment. He had swim lessons, he had his language adventures class starting, he had his chapel and those classes that go after chapel that started as well. And we got to go on a break and on vacation, so I can't really be too hard on that I missed out on some of these lessons. Yes, I would have liked to do more of these lessons, and yes, I would have liked to do his math curriculum because it's so good and so cute. Like, Singapore Dimensions PKA is like the cutest curriculum for math that I've ever seen in my life. And it teaches really good skills and concepts for the 4-year-old population. So highly recommend that curriculum if you are looking into a pre-K curriculum for math. But anyways, so yeah, I didn't get to do as much of pre-K with my pre-K-er that I wanted to, but you know what? That's okay. Life goes on. And family subjects goes on, because now let's talk about family subjects. So in our family, we do Bible, social studies, read alouds, literature, and science, all as a family. My goal also in October is to start Spanish back up again, because been putting that on the back burner for a while. But yeah, that is another subject that I would like to bring back in October. But let's talk about how I was able to do our family subjects with the crazy busyness that we had. So basically, looking at my schedule, I didn't know how in the world we were going to fit any science or social studies in. And then, ding, 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 Fun Fridays. So that's what we did. We took Friday, we didn't do any language arts or any math on Fridays in the month of September. We turned them into Fun Fridays, and that way I was able to do social studies and science, and do a lot of it actually. So let me show you what we did. So for one of our Fridays, all we did was social studies. So for Around the World with Picture Books Part 1, we did the Ghana unit, and we did 3 lessons from the Ghana unit. Let me show you. So for the first Fun Friday that we had, we did the lesson 1, which is the maps and the coloring of the flag lesson, and then we did Emmanuel's Dream. Beautiful book, and then some great literature comprehension questions that went along with that. We did another read aloud as well. So that same day we did this other read aloud, and man, this book, they read this book like they wanted me to read it like 3 times. This is a fantastic book about how schools in other countries might not look the same as schools that we have here in the United States or other westernized countries. So this was a fantastic book. Rain School, 2 thumbs up, highly recommend this. Also on that first Friday we did the nature connections. We got to learn about all of the animals from Ghana. We did videos on all of them, and then we got to, after we watched the video, a little short 5-minute video on YouTube, then we got to color in the animals and put them in our notebooks. And then on our second Fun Friday in September, what we did was we did some Ghana art. We learned about kente cloth, and then we didn't have this read aloud. We didn't have it from the library, but we watched a video about how kente cloth is made, and then we did one of those fun weaving activities. And then we also, that second Fun Friday, we learned about the baobab tree. And I might be mispronouncing that, so apologies. We watched a video on it, and then we did a coloring activity. This is an amazing tree that is found in the country of Ghana and in other parts of Africa as well. We learned about how the baobab tree, it provides shelter, clothing, water, medicine, and nutrition to animals and people all around Africa. So that was great to learn about. And then, like we do it for all of our Around the World with Picture Book lessons, the end one is the cuisine. So we had some Ghana cuisine. We made the Ghana chicken, and it was very yummy, yummy, yummy. We didn't get to make the fufu recipe or the light soup recipe, but yeah, the boys, I had them help me put all the ingredients in the pot, and I taught them how to brown up chicken. They got to watch me brown up chicken, so that was a nice cooking lesson for my boys. And for that second Fun Friday, we did 2 read alouds that were recommended from this curriculum. The first one was Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears, and this is kind of like a folk tale about like this animal bothered this animal, and then this happened, and this happened, and this happened. So this book was kind of like why mosquitoes are annoying and the reason for that to be. But yeah, this was, the boys asked to read it like 3 times, so they obviously enjoyed this book. And the second book we read was The Water Princess. And this book taught the boys that, you know, some people have to walk miles to get to fresh water, and then they can't drink the water straight away. They have to then go back to where they came from and boil the water so that it is sanitary, and then they can finally quench their thirst. So this was a good educational book about how people live in different environments with some people can't just go and flush their toilet and turn on the tap water. Life is harder in different places, and we need to be sympathetic and have empathy for others. So that was our Fun Friday day 2. Now for our Fun Friday day 3, I focused on science. And during the 3rd week of our September, I was able to do a little more science throughout the week, and then we finished with just a science day, which was fantastic. So let me show you guys what we got up to for science. So for our 3rd Fun Friday, we focused on the planet of Venus. We are using Gather Around Space Unit, and the boys have been enjoying this. I have had to add some YouTube videos because my boys, the last curriculum they used, had awesome YouTube video recommendations. So they're kind of used to science incorporating videos, and we watched the free school video on Venus, and I mean, it's very educational. I love Free School, that YouTube channel. Shout out to them. So we did this unit, and then we also started the Earth unit. So I think we just read, yeah, we just read the first 2 educational pages on Earth. We didn't start the actual notebooking. And let me show you the difference in the notebooking pages for the space unit, for the pre-reader and the early reader. So this is the pre-reader. This is what my pre-Ker is using for his space unit. So he just has 2 pages per lesson. So let me find his Venus. So Venus was pretty cool because we got to learn about how acid rain falls on Venus. And so we learned about, in this unit, the water cycle. So this is my pre-Ker. His 2 pages were, he gets to color in Venus, and then he got to learn about the water cycle. And there were little cutouts that he cut out and then glued in the corresponding images. So those are the 2 pages for the pre-reader. Now the early reader is what my first grader is using. So we've got this, it looks like, I'll show you what pages he has. So this is for Venus. He had to circle words that describe it, and then I had him transcribe. Then he was learning about different formations of landforms. And then he has a Bible verse that it was copying, and then he also read it out loud for me. And then he did some spelling work. His spelling word was heaven, and he was drawing what he thinks heaven looks like. How sweet. Heaven on earth. Fantastic. And then he too got to do the water cycle, the same lesson. How I wish that he had the cutouts, because precipitation, collection, evaporation, and condensation are really big words for my first grader. So I wish that I had copied my pre-reader's cutouts and had the cutouts for him as well, because this was a little too complicated having to write those words. And then the last thing is his picture of Venus. So that kind of gives you the difference between what the pre-reader looks like and the early reader looks like. The differences for Gather Round Space Unit. I wanted to give you a little peek into that. So I showed you guys the literature that we read for our Around the World with Picture books, but we also read some literature to go along with our math curriculum. So let me show you those books. We read Goodnight Gorilla, and we read The Very Hungry Caterpillar. And I don't remember if those were for the recommendations for which of the boys' curriculum, but they're really sweet, fun books that we have read before and we get from the library. I think I've said this before, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. We should just buy our own copy. We've gotten it so many times from the library. And then our last read aloud was our chapter book for the month. I actually think we started this back in August sometime, but we just never finished it. It was Magic Treehouse, the first one, number 1, Dinosaurs Before Dark. And my kids love this book. We love Magic Treehouse. I bought my son the collection for Christmas, so we plan to be reading these throughout the year and the following years to come. Many years to come. Many years to come. Love this. You guys, I think that's everything. That was a lot. Thank you guys for sticking with me till the end. If you stuck around to the end, bravo. This was a long one, at least for me it was. And not filming videos for a month, it's getting back in the swing of things. It can be a challenge. Well, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know how your September went in the comments. Let me know. Let me know if you guys had any struggles, if you guys had any blessings, if you guys had a non-busy September. Let me know all the things, how your September went. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and wherever you are, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Bye.